had heard about this trumpet player. When his band broke up, he still had all these gigs. He had to put together a band fast. He heard about this young trumpet player at Lincoln. He didn't know it was me. And I didn't. I mean, I came home from school one day, and my mother said, you got a call from Binky. He wants you to play with his band. I lost it. I lost it. I was like, what? And then my father, he said, well, just see, because he might not realize. I said, no, y'all don't know. Y'all just don't know. I'm not. It's nowhere in the world this isn't going to happen. So I went, and after he called me back, he realized that I'm the little dude that he used to play in the floor with, that he saw at Lincoln. He said, oh man, it's you? He said, yeah. So he called me over to the house, and I already knew most of their stuff. I could just play it. Mm-hmm. And at 16, that was really phenomenal to them, because they were playing really difficult things. Stuff by Chicago, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, and they was doing Cool in the Gang, but they had their own arrangement. But I knew their arrangement, because we used to always go and listen to them at high school dances. And so I guess when I was about 15 or 16, I knew, because I quit playing baseball, because I knew I couldn't play with Clyde and him and her and play baseball. And that was turning. Yeah, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Don't get me started. Wait till you ask a question about him.
Anyone with pale pectate in the house. They're real, the mouth in it.
Oh, yeah.
That is
okay. Next question. More me. Okay, come on. Another question.
What's your most memorable moment performing? The thing that stands out in your mind the most?
For me, I think it was performing with Sammy Davis Jr.
Wow.
We were in St. Louis, and it's weird because we were in St. Louis, and we were doing a play about our father and how we follow in his footsteps. It's called Steps, anyway. But Sammy Davis came through, and they was doing the Variety Club Telethon where he was hosting it. And so we just wanted to meet him. But the guy that owned the boat talked to the producers, and they found out that Sammy knew our dad, and so they made sure that we got on the show with Sammy. And we were invited the night before. They had a VIP party. So we went to the VIP party, was thrown out. It is ironic because we were invited by the producer and we didn't have invitations. So after we were thrown out, the producer got everything straight. We got back in. And then the next day, we performed. And just meeting Sammy was like a high point in my life, because all these years I had been watching him on TV, and my dad had been telling us different things about him. And so just meeting somebody of his stature that was so gracious as he was. And then to perform there with him, that was it for me. It don't get no better, I think, back then.
He's waiting.
That's enough.
I don't know if any performance situation tops that one with me either. But I think that as far as the experience, because we've done a lot of traveling, we've done a whole lot of different shows, North Sea Festival in front of like maybe 15,000 people and things like that. But I think the most outstanding situation was over for the troops. That was one that every day I was like a basket case. I've never been around anything like that. I mean, I didn't even play war when I was a little boy. I was never interested in the concept of, pow, I got you and you dead. That's even as a boy, I didn't like that. So to be around everyday bombs and everything, it was like really surreal for me. It was like I was in a daze, and I was seeing all these kids in my mind, because I have children that are old enough to be over there now, and it really touched me deeply. That was the most moving experience that I've ever had. Yeah, out of anything, I nothing with me that I've ever been through compares with that, because from that I've gotten so much respect and admiration for anybody that's ever put in any time for our country. It made me really. I always respected people that are in the armed forces, but now it's on a completely different level. I just being over there for the length of time, maybe a week or 8 days, something like that. We were over there.
We was
but
like 10
20. Okay, but 24/7, hearing bombs and and being around it and wearing Kevlar and being carried around in Black Hawk helicopters, and we were just like 2 blocks away from getting one of those IED. Is that what one of those? They called it right before our entourage went. We were in these armored bulletproof cars, and somebody detected an IED right as our entourage was going, and then we were with these Navy SEALs and everything, and it was a real big thing. and for me to be in the middle of all of that, knowing that this ain't television, this is not a play, this is not show business, this is the real deal. People will be. Matter of fact, the night before we went over there is when I knew how real it was, because it was like I'm sitting there looking at CNN in the hotel room. We did a big thing in Washington, D.C. before we went over there for Wayne Newton and Bo Derek. There's a bunch of celebrities. But it was totally different than any celebrity situation we've been in. And I'm watching the news showing I don't know if you guys will remember that, because so much has happened since then, but this is when the first time they had this restaurant and all these people had got blown up in this restaurant. It's the first time that it happened. And that happened the night before we went over, and I'm sitting there looking like this is where I'll be tomorrow. And it really put a lot.
Yeah, that was quite an experience. And we performed I remember we performed in the foyer of one of the palaces, just because these troops could not come to the show, so they flew us there to just sign autographs and meet the troops. And me and Lonnie, we just wanted to do something, so we hummed a song and danced for them.
Because we were the only ones in the entourage. They had Wayne Newton, Bob Schneider, and a lot of them, and so we're all sitting there on this long table, and all the troops are coming out with their rifles strapped on them, and we signing pictures and stuff for them. And then somebody said something about, "I wish you could perform." And then Wayne looked down at Ronald. It's almost like all of us knew. Wayne looked down at Ronald and I was like, "Yeah." And we just jumped out in the middle of the floor and started humming one of our songs and tap dancing, and it just got crazy. It was great.
Yeah, it was great.
But that's
at the minstrel shows and county fairs, traveling throughout the South. But he spoke with tears. For 15 years, his dog and he just used to travel about. Then his dog up and died. His best friend, up and died. You know, even after 20 years, he still grieves. He said, look, baby, now I used to dance and little boys and honky tonks and